Hey guys, Martin the Martian here, back to conclude the final chapter to the Dark Knight trilogy. This is The Dark Knight Rises. Let's get to this review. This movie is pretty much essentially the story of Bruce Wayne having to become the Batman once again. It's been, I forgot to mention really quick, okay, this video may contain some spoilers from the previous movies just because in order to explain this one, it has some beats from the previous. Fair warning. It has been years, about 7 or so years, ever since the events of The Dark Knight has happened, and because of the Joker, because of Harvey Dent, of what they've left upon Gotham, it's left Commissioner Gordon and the Batman to live this lie where Harvey Dent was just this hero in order to keep all the criminals that he locked up in prison in the prison. And in this movie you can really feel that eating out of Commissioner Gordon. And that's something I really forgot to mention in my last video, that Commissioner Gordon is one of my favorite characters in this whole trilogy. He's very essential to the storyline and his acting is just phenomenal in all these movies. I love Gary Oldman. He's one of my favorite actors so far. Other phenomenal actors that are back from the previous ones are like Alfred and Mr. Fox, which is Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman. Do I even have to say these guys are really good? They're like the legends of acting right here. Let's talk about some of the new characters into this movie. We have Bane by Tom Hardy, which is a very intimidating villain. He's great as a character into this movie. He's pretty much on par with the Joker in my opinion. I just think that the Joker is just a tad bit better. If I'd have to flip a coin to pick which one I like better. But Bane is very intimidating. He's very strong. He's very smart. And I love his mask. People, their first impressions of the character of Bane when they first saw it in the trailers when it was first out, they're like, well, what is this? Like, what about the whole mask? And what about, he's supposed to be as big as the Hulk, but this is a more realistic type of Batman storyline. The Christopher Nolan is nothing but realism in the Batman universe here. He's still really strong for his size, but it would be weird to have like a giant Bane like we do in the comics and like the movie. I don't know. I don't think it would suit it. This is the more smarter, manipulative type of Bane that I like. His mask is more like a type of thing that covers his mouth, and yeah, I like his voice. A lot of people don't, and I can understand why. It's a little hard to understand them every now and then, but if you pay attention or if you just turn on the subtitles, you can understand them. And do you accept this man's recognition? That was a horrible impression, but you get my point. Another character into this movie that was added was Catwoman, which I actually like into this movie. A lot of people try and compare her to the one from Batman Returns. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time, so I don't really know how to make that comparison, but I personally like this Catwoman into this movie. She was smart, she was manipulative, she was like the thief that she is, and we all get to see her character arc throughout this movie. And Hathaway did a pretty good job as Catwoman. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this movie, and he plays this officer named Officer Blake, and he's more like a rookie into the police force, and he's one of the good cops that are left, and I really like this character. He's just very intriguing to me, and the way you see this movie turn out, the way you see where this character goes, it's very interesting. I like this character. It's kind of predictable, but I liked it. Marion Cotillard, I don't shoot me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but she did a pretty good role as Miranda Tate into this movie. Her character was very important into this movie, and that's all I'm gonna say, because once again, I'm not gonna try and put any spoilers into these videos. And she was very mysterious. Alright, so besides the characters, let's talk about the action. I thought the action was really done well. It was no shaky cam. You get to see Batman kick some ass into this movie, just like he always does. Not just Batman, but you see Bane kick ass too. This movie, and the whole trilogy, is the first time Batman is outclassed physically by another person. You saw him, how easily he took down the Scarecrow, or how easily he took down Harvey Dent, or any grunts or whatever. But Bane is another story. Bane is a character that just physically beats Batman. And that fight scene that they have into this movie, there are multiple fight scenes, they're done really well, and it's one of my favorite fight scenes in all the movies that I've ever seen. Not just because it's Batman, but the way that they shot it and the way that it just felt so real. Okay, so this is one of the bigger complaints that people tend to have about this movie. This movie has more screen time on Bruce Wayne than Batman himself, and I honestly don't mind that because this gives us more time to connect with the character Bruce Wayne, and it is Bruce Wayne. It's not Batman. Like if you really want to get down to it, the character we are caring about is Bruce Wayne, the man under the mask, not the superhero himself. All hope is lost into this movie. First time I saw this, I was like, holy crap, how are they gonna ever triumph through this? And it has a darker turn than like the previous movies. I've said The Dark Knight is pretty dark, but this one is pretty dark too. It takes it over to another level. Now, I would say The Dark Knight Rises is pretty much on par with the previous two movies, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. They're all really good. I've given them all a pretty high score for what they deserve, and I would just say that they're like a tad bit better and not as good as the other ones. Now, if I would give them an order, I would say my personal favorites was The Dark Knight, just below The Dark Knight Rises, and then a little below Batman Begins. That's just my opinion. And normally on trilogies, you have the first one that introduces the character, and the second one that's generally the best one, and then the third one that's just like crap because they're trying to find something to tie it up in a nice little bow. But this trilogy was actually really solid. I like the third one especially. It's a solid conclusion to this whole trilogy, and I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5 out of 5. Alright, so those are my thoughts onto the movie The Dark Knight Rises. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Thanks for watching.
See ya next month on March when Dawn of Justice comes out.